Welcome back, Freshwater Fishing Novices, new viewers. This is the Freshwater Fishing Novice YouTube channel. It's Freshwater Fishing Novice Friday, and my name is Moles. I remember when I first started fishing, and my go-to reel was a spinning reel. I kept seeing videos and stuff, and other people fishing with a baitcaster. And my thought was, why the heck do you need a baitcaster when you have a spinning reel? I didn't want to figure this out because it looked problematic. I saw a guy on my first year fishing. I tried to use one of these. He was learning. I was learning a spinning reel, and he kept having problems. And I was like, that looks like a pain in the butt. So I kept with my spinning reel, and I kept going back and forth. And I'm like, there's got to be a way I can stick with my spinning reel, not have to figure this baitcaster out, because it looked like a pain in the butt. It is kind of a pain in the butt. 3 years ago, I bought this baitcaster right here. And then I think within a day of owning it, I broke it. I broke the rod. It was sticking out of an improvised rod holder in the back of my pickup. I backed into my dad's garage, hit the top of the garage because the rod was sticking up so high, snapped that rod right in half, so then I only had was the reel. Then I had to save up and go buy another rod just to pretend like I was gonna learn that thing. I watched a bunch of videos on how we use a baitcaster. I'm not gonna tell you guys how to set up a baitcaster because there's plenty of videos out there. Maybe I'll make a video in the future, but this video is just gonna tell you how long it took me personally to figure out and learn how to properly use a baitcaster from start to finish. Or not start to finish, but start until I didn't feel like a complete ding dong using it, and I wasn't getting bird's nests all the time. The first problem I had when I went from a spinning reel to the baitcaster is that you cast them differently. I didn't see that in any videos. Actually, I saw it recently in a video. A guy mentioned it, and I was like, oh, why did no one mention that? So with a spinning reel, you can really get that rod to whip the lure out. You can get it really to bend and load up and give it extra oomph, almost like a slingshot. When I went to the baitcaster and tried to do that, load it up, go to do it, bird's nest. Load it up, do it, bird's nest. So the main difference with the baitcaster is it's more of a lob as opposed to a whoosh, whip from the spinning reel. So that took a little of adjustment. Another problem I was having, I like using unweighted hooks, basically a Texas rig, or just a hook and a worm, like a plastic worm. And you can send them out, you can send those pretty good distance on a spinning rod. On a baitcaster though, a little different. These are easier to cast with a bit of weight. So I haven't really mastered, I don't even know if I have a novice concept of how to throw a weightless Texas rig worm on a baitcaster without having a problem. Maybe that'll happen. Maybe I'll practice over the winter and try to figure that out. So you need a little bit of weight. It makes it a lot easier to cast the reel when you have actual weight. So once I paired up the proper weight with the reel, it made a big difference in my learning curve. You know, I was having problems where I wouldn't have my thumb on the reel, which apparently is a big deal because that's one of your brakes. So it doesn't bird's nest. You can just slap your thumb down or apply more pressure, and that will prevent a bird's nest. It might drop your lure early, but at least you didn't get a bird's nest. Now you don't have to untangle. After I figured that out, then it was just a matter of actually dialing in how well I could use this. So my first year, broke the rod, said F it, kept up with my spinning reels. Second year, I was like, okay, you have this baitcaster, you should probably learn it instead of just looking at it in the garage. So I was messing around with it, bird's nest, frustrated, go to spinning reels. I'd bring it on my kayak with me, try it, get frustrated, spinning reel. First year, broke the rod, didn't learn anything. Don't back into your dad's garage with the rod sticking 7 feet in the air. That's what I learned that year. Second year, just a ton of frustration. And I was getting a little bit more of the hang of it by the second year, but it wasn't 2 years full time. Finally, this year, I was like, I gotta figure this out because I bought like 4 or 5 bait casters over the winter so I could throw bigger baits and stuff like that, and different lures that I wanted to throw that were heavier that I wasn't really going to be able to do on even a medium heavy or heavy spinning reel, spinning rod, spinning setup. I made sure I brought at least one bait caster every time I went out this year. It wasn't quite as easy learning from shore. You got to deal with trees and bushes and the ground, and if you go to do like an underhand roll cast and your lure is hanging too far off the rod or your rod's too low, all of a sudden it smacks the ground and you get a bird's nest. So once I was in my kayak, I was able to cast a little bit easier. I realized casting overhand, overhead was pretty tough. When I cast my spinning reels, I like the underhand roll cast just to send that lure almost horizontal with the water, basically just zipping across the water. When I tried that with the bait caster, I had bird's nest the first couple times because I was trying to use that lure to bend it and get it to snap. Once I started just, it's more of a smooth movement as opposed to whack as like a spinning reel. You're gonna pull back, feel it load up, and then you're gonna sling it. But with the bait caster, it's more of a fluid motion. So you start here and you just go, and that's when you let go of the line and it starts coming off. So once I figured that out, it became a lot easier. Practice. I started bringing more bait casters on the boat with me, on the kayak. At this point, when I go out fishing, I have 3, maybe 4 bait casters, and then maybe 2 different spinning setups. Sometimes 1 spinning setup. I like to have the spinning setup just in case as a backup. And I mean, I caught my PB this year on a medium spinning rod. Not one of these more expensive bait casters. So how long did it really take me to get the hang of a bait caster to the point where I feel confident going out all day with a bait caster, going out at night using a bait caster in the dark? It took me 3 years, but not 3 years full time. Very little the first year, mess around the second year, get frustrated, put it down. And finally, this 3rd year, I'd say halfway through the year, I got the hang of it. So probably about total combined time, I would say it took me about, let's say 2 years. A year and a half? A year and a half to 2 years is what it really took me to dial in and figure out how to properly, not completely know how to use these. I'm still working on it. But I can go out and I can cast most of the lures I own. Some of them go into the trees. Yeah, I casted a bunch of my lures into the trees with the bait caster. But that was because I don't know what the heck I was doing. Yeah, if you were ever wondering, I haven't seen a video out there saying how long it took anyone to learn how to use a bait caster. So I figured I'd put this video out to encourage you guys. It's gonna take a little bit of practice, more than it would with your spinning rod. Spinning reel, very easy to pick up. Bait casters, it's gonna take some time and effort and practice. Don't get discouraged if you don't get it right away. I know my buddy down in Tennessee said he's having some issues with it. If you guys wanna see a video on how I dialed in my reel, and I'll make a video on casting the bait caster, leave it down in the comments below. Let me know that you wanna see how to use a bait caster if you haven't watched any of these millions of other videos. Thanks for watching my video this week. My name is Moles. I'm the Freshwater Fishing Novice. It's been Freshwater Fishing Novice Friday. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll catch you next week.